Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, listeners. Welcome. This is COMETSA Television Network, our video streaming platform. We bring in the 22nd edition of the Valley University of Technology Student Academic Development Support and Work Integrated Learning Show. This is the show that takes place on the last Wednesday of every month, with the exception of the month of December and January. You can tell that we have been on this journey for a very, very long time. 22nd edition, the fourth year almost. So yeah, today we have a very, very special panel for you to address a pertinent topic, which is about graduates transitioning not only into the world of work, but much so into the world of entrepreneurship. It is possible, it is doable, and we would like to tackle that topic. Let me not waste time, acknowledge the leadership of the Valley University of Technology here in the name of Dr. Moletsane. Dr. Moletsane, welcome. As always, our viewers know you very well. We will introduce you just now. And then, of course, she's not alone today. She's with Onica. Matsheke. She comes from the Faculty of Business Management, lecturer in the area of entrepreneurship. We are blessed to have you here this evening. We'll give you some few minutes to introduce yourself. And we've got my associate, Dr. Salifou Siddo. Salif and I, we have been on this journey for a very long time now, and we're going to hear from his side of the story in terms of how he handhold upcoming entrepreneurs and put them on the path to success. We are also joined by the alumna of the Valley University of Technology in Fusi, Motaung. Wonderful to reconnect with you. We're looking forward to hear from you what has been happening since you last left the university and joined the corporate world, and of course, ultimately, the entrepreneurship. We were supposed to have Tobile. Unfortunately, she's not able to join, but she'll join us next time. We have the graduate of the Reed Exhibitions entrepreneurship program in the name of Mabusang. Mabusang will also get the opportunity to introduce you, how she experienced the journey with Dr. Siddo, and how it's happening out there in the world of entrepreneurship. I can't wait to hear the story from Mabusang. I have invited the colleagues of mine in the journey of branding. We have Mbali. Mbali is our observer guest. She will only comment right at the end of the show. Hopefully, Sophie will join us as well, Sophie Maseko. So it's a full panel of experts in the area of entrepreneurship. Without wasting time, I'm going to ask this Eni to welcome us as the leader at the university, a partner on this journey. Dr. Moletsane, welcome. I'm glad you could join us.
Thank you very much. Yes.
A few words to our viewers.
Thank you very much, colleagues, and thank you for the panelists to be here this evening. I want to welcome you to this session, and the listener, I know that my colleagues has tuned in and from the university, and then I just want to welcome them to this show so that they may actually know that we are running this show. I think the student as well, they did tune in, and I would like to thank them a lot for joining us this evening to put everything aside. And I'm excited to see Ntate Motaung, to be one of the panelists, and I'm excited to see Dr. Siddo. I'm excited to see Mama Onica, Mabusang, and everyone. I'm so excited, colleagues. Let's just get in.
So wonderful. And we are very grateful for the team at the Co-op, at the VUT, behind the scenes and here at COMETSA to support this journey. I'm going to ask Sis Onica to say just a few words and greet the audience, the viewers, and then we're going to give her time to tell us a little bit more about developing entrepreneurs from the academic point of view. Sis Onica, a few words of welcome.
Good evening, colleagues. All protocol observed. My name is Onica Thandi Matsheke from the Faculty of Management Science within the Department of Human Resource Management. I'm so excited today to speak about entrepreneurship because South Africa is faced with high rate of unemployment, not only youth unemployment, but graduate unemployment. I will tune in details when my time comes. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. We are happy to have you here from the academic side. Dr. Siddo, just a few words about yourself and the READ Exhibitions program, not in full detail because we have a lineup of questions for you, but just greet the viewers as well.
Okay, good afternoon, colleagues and viewers as well. As introduced already by our moderator, Sam, my name is Dr. Salifou Siddo. I'm the founder and CEO of SME Tradelinks, and we are currently running the READ Exhibition ESD Incubation Program. I will obviously provide more detail as we progress with our event this evening. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Motaung, welcome back at VUT. Some few words, greetings to the viewers, and then of course, few words about yourself, and then we'll give you more time in detail later.
Thank you, Ntatetzima. Good evening to everybody. It is really exciting to meet some familiar faces and those I'm meeting for the first time. My name is Fusi Motaung. I am the founder and MD of Atleha Consulting. We provide HR compliance competitiveness since 2017, and we also do job readiness and work and job search programs. We liaise with several companies, and I'm looking forward to explaining further on those matters. So thank you so much.
Beautiful, welcome. Simply, I know I said you're only going to talk at the end of the show. It would be unfair of me not to give you a few seconds to greet the viewers and introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sam. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mbali Mgosi. I am the founder and the co-owner of the Author Authority Consultancy. We deal with digital marketing, we deal with digital platform, and we also do leadership training for authors and individuals. And we just ventured into organization leadership training. Thank you.
Beautiful, lovely. Mawisang, some few words from your side.
Good evening, colleagues, and good evening to our viewers. And my name is Moletsane. I am the CEO and the founder of Shaiboy Holdings, a company that specializes in project management and events globally and internationally. And we specialize in the space of sports, MICE, and events. Thank you.
Beautiful. Looking forward to hear more about that. Let's kickstart with Dr. Siddo. We'll start with the practice, and then we'll follow that with some academic theoretical models from Onica. From your experience, Dr. Siddo, linking SMEs to opportunities across South Africa and the continent at large, what will you say are the most critical gaps that university students must address to transition successfully into the entrepreneurship? And of course, give us the context of the READ Exhibitions program that you are taking care of, and SME Tradelinks.
Okay, no, thank you. Thank you very much for that question, Sam. And before I tackle the question that you have put to me, I think I should try and anchor this conversation within the entrepreneurship context and economic context that we are in South Africa. I'm sure everyone in this panel or on this platform will agree with me that in South Africa, we are currently experiencing high youth unemployment. We are experiencing structural inequalities in society. In fact, South Africa is reputed to be the one nation in the world with the highest inequality among the different social components of society. We are experiencing a growing informal economy, and we are also on the other side, and which is a positive thing, we are experiencing expanding digital platform opportunities. So having said this, I think we need to essentially understand that entrepreneurship is not a last resort activity, despite the challenges that we have mentioned. Entrepreneurship is actually a strategic economic lever. And the gaps that I see a lot of would-be entrepreneurs experiencing or bumping their heads against is the fear of failing, the very much touted lack of access to finance, as well as the lack of access to opportunities, markets, and you name it. Whenever I engage in conversations with people who have just graduated from university or other colleges, and they are basically considering their options, and without fail, the idea of setting up as an entrepreneur would come up, and those are some of the issues that without fail will come to the fore. Now, how are we basically working with the READ exhibition to address some of these matters? It is pretty straightforward, actually. We all know that in South Africa, there's legislation called BEE, which essentially compels large corporates, and a large corporate in South Africa is defined as any entity that generates at least 50 million rand per annum. Such entities, as we all know, are obligated to actually invest 3% of their after-tax profits to support young entrepreneurs, or to support entrepreneurs who have the potential of being part of that large enterprise's value chain, or that is already providing goods and services to that enterprise. So that is the background to the SME Tradelinks relationship with a corporate entity like READ Exhibition. And we help them to identify SMEs that they can assist so that they can comply with the legislation. Chairperson or facilitator, please let me know if you want me to continue or if I should stop there. And
we will come back to more details about the program, how you go about inviting entrepreneurs to become part of the incubation. But I get your message is clearly in response to the enterprise supply development program of the broad-based Black economic empowerment. And I assume that there's a strategy from the RX Global to address BEE from that angle. But let's hold it there and ask Onica, from the lecturer's perspective, what are the issues that you think needs to be addressed through the academic side in supporting the students' interest in entrepreneurship, or in motivating to them to consider entrepreneurship as an option to employment? Over to you, and of course, share with us some of the programs that you work with other enterprises through your faculty.
Thank you so much, Prasem. I think the challenge that we are facing is that initially the university was giving knowledge to students, but then we gave minimal skills, because when you teach, you need to give students knowledge, skills, and attitude, because that's what is needed in the workplace. So we teach students about entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship? What are the characteristics of entrepreneurship? What are the types of entrepreneurship? However, we are also teaching entrepreneurship about. We teach about entrepreneurship. That one is difficult because students are unable to be creative, more especially at the first year level, because they don't understand their subject yet. Some students, they enroll with analytical chemistry, some they enroll with business management, some they enroll with IT. If I take an example of IT, because I used to offer entrepreneurship for IT students, at the first year level, you find that they know nothing about IT. But how do we encourage them to become entrepreneurs? Then we collaborate them with the other students who are in the second, third, and the fourth year, so that they can learn those IT skills whilst learning the theory, but to be able to practice those IT skills. So as a faculty advisor of Enactus, Enactus is a national organization that assists students to become entrepreneurs. So Enactus affiliates with other businesses like MTN, Harmony, Unilever, NetBank, ABSA. So what we do in Enactus, when Enactus is bringing challenges to students, I will just make an example of Harmony NGO, as that Siddo have alluded that the companies are obliged to develop small companies. So Harmony, what they do, they develop the small companies and they give them some work within their company so that they can benefit. However, you'll find that those companies, they don't know how to write business proposals. They don't know how to comply with SARS. They also don't know how to register their business. So what Harmony will do, will have a seed fund in the form of grant to students to say, we are going to train you on how to write business proposals, how to comply with SARS, how to apply or register your business online. And thereafter, then they will take these students back to the people who want to get work from Harmony to train them. So it looks like students are only only training those people. However, after they are able to practice that training, they can go to any NGO and help them to write business proposal, help them to register their business, to comply with SARS, and charge them for their services. So we also work with entrepreneurship development in higher education, which is AD. The higher education, they thought that if we give students a knowledge, skills, and education, they will be able to start business or they will be absorbed in the companies. However, the higher education have observed that most of the students are unemployed. We've got high rate of graduate unemployment. So what they do, they also bring challenges to students every year to come up with businesses that relates to social problems, that relates to general problems, that relates to tech problems. They also emphasize to their research to say, we don't only do research just to get certificate and qualification. When you conduct a research, sometimes you get the findings. Some students who are doing analytical chemistry, sometimes they do research relating to water purification. If there are certain methods or processes that they can use, better processes that can clean water, more especially in our rural areas. So they are expected now to commercialize their research, not only to say, okay, I've got a qualification, I'm going to stop there. So that's how we are emphasizing to students, say, students, commercialize your research, and you'll find that there are students who've got a product, like the students who are in engineering, applied science, as well as the students who are doing art, but they don't have that entrepreneurial mindset. So interdisciplinary connection help these students, because you find that the students have a qualification of marketing. What will you market if you don't have a service to provide or you don't have a product to sell? So then if these students come together and they work in teams, that's where they can help each other to start the business. As the earlier speaker said, it is difficult to start a business because the students said they don't have money. And there's that fear of failure. But students are safe when they start a business within the university, because even if they fail, but they don't fail on their own resources. So that is why we emphasize that students should use the design thinking process to be able to know the real problem. Because what makes people to fail is because when you've got money or you've got grant, you just go and start the business. And you don't have to start from there. You have to use the design thinking process.
Beautiful. Hold it there. I'm interested in that design thinking process that you take students through. And then, of course, the practical way in which you engage already with programs like Enactus, EDHE, and then, of course, you mentioned TENSA as well. So there are interventions that are there that the universities are making available to students. I guess we just need to make sure that the students see that as a core focus, not just by the wayside. But hold it there. It's great stuff. It's exciting. And during your time, I don't think you had great opportunities like these ones that Sister Onica is sharing of. Or am I wrong? Tell us how post-graduation from Valley University of Technology, you ended up being self-employed. I still remember meeting you in one big mining company. I thought you would be mining executive by now, but you decided to venture out and start your own business. How did that happen? And what caused it in Motaung?
Yeah, Ntatetima, once again, thank you for the opportunity. Really, I am learning a lot interacting with the fellows here. Ntatetima, first of all, I can say no. The great opportunities that Onica is speaking about were not there at the time. So I commend them for having them in place in 2026. They were not there. I think even Eni will remember she has been a titan in cooperative education, but what Onica is talking about was never there. Ntatetima, my story is long. I will try to make it short. As you say, I have also worked. Even I have worked at VUT under Eni for some time. But this is where my story begins, and hopefully it can explain the entrepreneurship side of it. When I turned 24, I had just completed my BTech program at VUT. I was staying in Vanderbilt Park in an outside room. And on the 29th of November that year, I struggled to sleep because it was my birthday the next day. And I remember wondering, why is it that I'm struggling to sleep? And then a thought came to me that, Fusi, there is something that you need to do. And at the time, the information that I had, or the idea I had, was that I needed to have a vehicle for motivating high school learners about the realities and challenges of higher education. The next day, on my birthday, I registered the business. So I phoned an accountant, and that accountant charged me about 700 Rand. I registered the business. And what happened was that I found myself and my colleague, who was a co-founder, running around industrial areas where there were events like employee awards, where there were HIV/AIDS days and so on, hopping into taxis from Vereeniging all across Gauteng to go and give motivational talk, and volunteering to schools if we could talk about what we thought the learners needed to understand or know. What then happened was that in 2005, I then got a job at a consulting company in Johannesburg. When I was there, Ntatetima and the folks, assisting job seekers and delegates to prepare for interviews, to be shortlisted, to negotiate salaries, I was astounded at the amount of information I was learning by observation and realizing that nobody was teaching us that. And then I decided to pivot what I was doing. And I said, after 3 years here, I'm going to leave and design courses and programs where I assist graduates and professionals to understand what big hitters of delegates or candidates were actually doing to secure jobs. Because I was realizing for the first time that it wasn't just about great CVs, it wasn't just about experience. It was the ability to understand what that organization actually needs and emphasize without doubting yourself why you are the right person for that, and showcase that with the kind of work that you have done. So in answering your question around that, I can say these the development and the evolution of my entrepreneurial journey has not been shiny or any special. It has really been about how do I help young people, be it at the level of higher education, and then I realized I graduated to graduates, and then I moved up to professionals. And at the moment, all I do is to work with professionals in the workplace, as well as graduates who are looking for work. So graduates and unemployed are looking for work. My value is helping them to get in. Those who are in are facing a lot of challenges with relationships with their supervisors, growing, being productive, and that is also where I get involved from an HR consulting perspective.
Beautiful, beautiful. We'll come back to hear more about the model that you use to assist there. I want to go back to Dr. Siddo and ask him to introduce Mabusang. And the reason why I do that is because I met Mabusang at the Reed Exhibition's incubation program. And I found her to be so much on top of things, and I was wondering, why is she in the program? And now I know the answer, but then I didn't know. Dr. Siddo, if you don't mind, just introduce the Reed Exhibitions incubation program and tie it up with what Onica is doing from the faculty side. But then let's have the evidence in the form of Mabusang. Let's get to know what business she does. I see Sophie Maseko is here. She's a colleague of Mbali, and we will give them chance right at the end. They're going to give us summary of what we are all discussing. So they've got a tough job. Over to you, Dr. Siddo, and let's hear about your story and Sister Mabusang, and then of course let's get to know her business. I know she runs quite a very unique business indeed. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Brasam. And yes, so as I was saying earlier, we are implementing the Reed Exhibition Enterprise and Supply Development Program, and we have been doing so since 2016. So this year is actually 10 years that we have been collaborating with a large entity like Reed Exhibition. Just for as a side note, Reed Exhibition is the largest exhibition organization in Africa. They are linked to Reed Exhibition Global, which is based in London, but we work with the South African unit. So how do we do this? We all know, like I said earlier, that large enterprises have to do ESD as part and parcel of compliance with the BEE codes. So in the process, once we discuss with the Reed Exhibition in terms of what strategic objective they have for any particular year that they have to implement the program, we get a briefing from them. We develop a proposal in terms of how we see their incubation program coming for this particular year. And once we have all the signatures and we get the go-ahead, we as SME Tradelinks, we implement our strategy of recruiting who goes into that particular program. We advertise online in media. that this is who we are, this is what we are running, this is what we are proposing, and we are looking for young entrepreneurs who fit a particular framework, a particular profile that we would have agreed to with the Read exhibition to begin with. X number of female entrepreneurs, X number of male entrepreneurs, and so on and so forth. We advertise and we basically watch people responding to our ads. And while the applications are coming in, we prepare a selection process format, like who on the basis of our adverts, who meets those criteria and who doesn't. And last year, no, not last year, 2 years ago, Motaung was one of the selected entrepreneurs for. So in ESD, you have to understand that there are two types of categories. There are entrepreneurs who are selected to be ED beneficiaries, enterprise development beneficiaries, and that's participants who are selected to be SD beneficiaries, meaning supplier development beneficiaries. And it is not, the difference is not really that that difficult to understand. An ED beneficiary, enterprise development beneficiary, is any enterprise that has the potential of providing goods and services to Read exhibition. And a supplier development beneficiary is enterprises that are already providing goods and services to Read exhibition, meaning that they are part of the value chain, they are part of the procurement system of Read exhibition. So we were in that process when one of the beneficiaries for that year was Motaung, and Sam. That year was also the very first time that we were working with Sam to implement our program as a coach, as a mentor, as our resident expert, as we refer to him. So on that basis, then, having given the background, let me just invite Motaung to take the floor and tell us what she's all about and how and what her entrepreneurship journey has been. But I can guarantee you that she's one of the incubatees that we really look up to in terms of coming into the program, making of it what she could and benefiting from it. Motaung?
Oh, good evening. I am not very good talking about myself, and the two gentlemen, they do know. Dr. Salifou, thank you, and good evening to everybody else. So my name is Moletsane, and my company is Shyboy Holdings. It used to be Shyboy Project Management, but after we finished with the SME Tradelinks incubation, we upgraded to a holdings. So what we do, background, it is finance. Yes, numbers, bank, that's my background. However, I got bored with numbers. And one day I was able to balance my book, which was about 12 million, within 2 weeks. And my boss was like, this is not going to happen. You don't love this job anymore. And I didn't love it. I was good at it. Then I got an opportunity. I got a call from one of my colleagues in the event industry to come and join them and actually do the rolling out of the African Union. And I was a project manager for that event. And after we actually rebranded the African Union, I had a bite. I was in love with the entertainment industry, and I left finance. I opened my company without a single background of business besides what I've learned from my dad. So before I even tell you the full story about what we do, we specialize in the space of meetings, incentives, conference, and events, which is called MICE. But within that space also, we specialize in the space of sports. And sports is basically Formula One, motorsport. Number two, it is anything that's got to do with the PG tours. And then that is your golf. and anything that is got to do with high-end clientele. How I got into Formula One again. And I want people to understand the story here, because everybody believes you get into business because you write this big book, you got an MBA. That's not the story. My story is humorous because I have a big mouth and I criticize everything. And I criticize it because I can do it better, you know? So my late dad was a businessman, and I learned entrepreneurship from him, from just watching him do what he did and listen to his stories. And I had a bug in me. But everybody always says that you are born with entrepreneurship if it's in the family. But I think I just had a bite. So my father used to watch Formula One every Sunday on SABC3. And he was a Schumacher fan. My dad used to watch that race just for Schumacher to win. He didn't look at things that I was looking at. I was looking at my keys. I was looking at the cars. I was looking at the grid. And I told my dad, I'm like, look, this thing changes every time with the race. He's like, no, it doesn't. I'm like, it does. He's like, it doesn't. I'm like, you know what? One day I'm going to work on Formula One and I'll show you. Fast forward to 2008. God works in miracle ways, and what you put to the universe, it will come to you. I get an invite to come to Monaco and be a guest at a company called Waiko. So Waiko, it is a yacht company. So all the yachts you see that are actually in Monaco, that company manufactures them. So they said, if you can fly yourself here and you can accommodate yourself, we can actually host you. I didn't even want to ask how many questions. I was like, I'm there. I did my visa, I booked my flight, I booked my accommodation. I remember I booked in Nice, and I booked a 3-star hotel. Now, anybody who's been in Europe, you know 3-star hotel, it's not a 5-star hotel. So I had to actually amp myself up to say, look here, I'm not here to sleep, I'm here to learn. So when I booked my flight and everything else, the travel agent booked me a TGV train. So it's a train you can jump into from Nice, you can go as far as to Paris with it. And I literally jumped into that train, got into Monaco, was wearing high heels and pants. Nobody told me there are cobblestones in Monaco, all the way from the station to where the track is. So I was walking around in high heels, but I could not care about the fact that I was walking like a cow, even though I can walk heels. But the thing that I saw how Formula One works. I saw how the cars come in. I see how the track gets built. I saw how the marquees get built. And I was working literally on the grid. I was working on the back track. I was working everywhere. And during the build-up, I was there. I met, the time around 2008, we still had the grid girls. So these are the models who were standing next to the cars. Met some of them, got into the garages, met the engineers, to understand exactly how everything works. So for that, I was going to be Bob the Sponge. I was going to absorb. And that's what I did. By the time the race happened on Friday, I was at the practice, I was at the qualifier and the event race. And everything that I've learned for that 5 days, I was literally in Monaco, is what I implemented in this business. I understood what money is. And I understood the value of giving this client a service whereby when they walk out, they feel like, look, I am looking for next year. I always had a problem about the service offering that we had in events in South Africa. Always had. It used to be substandard. We never used to push the envelope. If you paid for the ticket, you'll see what to figure. But I wanted to put it a niche up, because Europe was doing amazing events. But being in Monaco for me opened my eyes. That's how I got to Formula One. However, the story that these two gentlemen do not know is when I landed into the country, I did not have a president. Motaung was acting, and I had a voice note from an office of Colmashadid. And the message was saying, look here, we know you're in Monaco. We know you're in events. We want you to come and do the Renault Formula One race. Come to our office. Because we live in the world where there are hoax, I didn't believe them, and I ignored it. This gentleman called me the following day and goes like, didn't you hear my voice note? I'm like, I did. I thought it was a joke. He's like, no, I'm waiting for you. Come over. Okay, I go over, and the Renault Formula race was sitting on the second year because the first year happened already, and I criticized it big time. And apparently they heard my big mouth, what it was saying. So I got to the office, and I remember I went to Fox Street, went into the office of GPG, sat there, and they're like, okay, cool. Look, we've got the event for you. We need an events manager for it. We've got the car already. We've got the production, but we need the event space. I'm like, okay, when's the event? They're like, in 2 weeks' time. I'm like, you're kidding me. He's like, yeah, 2 weeks' time. I'm like, okay, no problem. Sign me up. And I learned the importance of having relationships. And people don't understand that in business is not the money. In business, your biggest currency is your relationships. The person, the supplier, you can call at 10 o'clock at night and say, I need a couch. And they don't ask a question, when are you going to pay me? They deliver the couch and you send the payment after. Those are relationships that you build over the years. And by that time, by 2008, I still had those relationships. And by God's grace, I had shuttles, which was based in Cape Town. And I called the owner and I'm like, do not yell at me. Yell at me after the event. I need double story my key, the one we do for Devon July. He's like, where are you putting it? I'm like, I'm putting it at the Library Gardens in Sandton. He's like, what? I'm like, but we're going to make it work. And he brought his team over. We stood in the literally where right now you see where the food truck. We literally put up in my key there for Formula One. And I literally had 2 weeks to differentiate between the French government, celebrities, and put up my key and be able to create an event whereby it was everlasting. We did it. There's a lot of stories. We had sleepless nights. When we were building that, when we were doing that event, because there was a street race. And if everybody could remember, around 2008, we were building stadiums for World Cup. And anything about Formula One is your track needs to have barriers. And the barriers that are not going to get the car to crash and explode. So you use plastic barriers. And we did not have plastic barriers. I'm not going to mention the person's name because we are online, but
hold it there, Mabusang. I know I'm not interrupting you, but I think the message I'm hearing you saying is opportunity presented itself and you grabbed it and it helped you formulate the model of your business. Is that right?
Yes, but it must be something that you love. It's important. If opportunity comes and was construction, it will not be me. So it has to be something that you love. You cannot put the money before. It has to be something that you can wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're on a laptop and type. That's important.
Hold it there because I'm going to link. Hold it there because I'm going to link. I'm going to link your story with the story of Onica, where she was talking about students having to solve real life problems from their academic point of view. And you had to solve real life problem from a customer point of view. But it wouldn't have happened if you did not make an effort to go to Monaco. And you didn't go to Monaco to watch racing. You went to Monaco while you're watching racing. You were looking at the whole value chain of putting together a Formula One show, and hence you are now involved in it. I think that's the key message. But hold it there. I want to link that at the end with that. But I want to ask Amy and Sis Onica, because I have an insight in terms of how the university has structured these initiatives to help students transitioning into the world of work. And we have been talking for a very long time in the past 3 years about work integrated learning, as that Motaung has indicated. But now we have come to a realization that there is also initiative in the business management faculty that Onica worked with. And we have realized that actually work integrated learning and entrepreneurship initiative, they are addressing the same candidates. Where do you see this synergy, Sisini and Sis Onica, of the co-op and the faculty collaboration on work integrated learning and entrepreneurship taking us to? And how can we make the two into one, addressing the same issues of unemployment, poverty, and you name it? I don't know whether Sis Onica want to go first or Sis Eni.
Sis Onica, you want to go first? You can go.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm overwhelmed with what Ms. Mabusana have just said, which is really relating to design thinking process, because you don't start a business because you want to start a business and you don't know the customer. So going there physically, observing the opportunities that motivated her to start a business. Yes, there is a relationship between teaching entrepreneurship as well as with the work integrated learning. So the students normally, they want to go to the companies where they're going to apply what they've learned in class. And there are mentors within the companies who will be assessing them as to they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. But then sometimes the challenge is that students enroll to certain programs because sometimes they don't have sufficient points. And when they go on to second year, that's where they realize that I didn't want to do engineering. Maybe I wanted to do financial accounting. So that on its own makes students to become their own and to love what they are doing. But the students who are doing the work integrated learning, they've got more opportunity to practice what they are doing. We then supplement that with the competitions that comes from either EDHE, which is Entrepreneurship Development in Higher Education, whether competition which comes from Enactus. And then other competitions, they come from TENSA. TENSA is the Technology, Higher Education, and Network South Africa. What I like with TENSA, they train the trainer because the higher education are expecting lecturers to train students to become entrepreneurs, whilst lecturers themselves, they are not entrepreneurs. How can you then teach students to become entrepreneurs if you are not an entrepreneur yourself? And that's why then we will be teaching about entrepreneurship. Give me 5 characteristics of entrepreneurship. Give me 4 characteristics or qualities of entrepreneurship. What are the types of entrepreneurship? So we then move from teaching about to teaching for entrepreneurship, where then students are expected to be creative. Students are expected to be innovative. Yes, they need to get the foundation as to what is entrepreneurship, all that I have already indicated. After they have that foundation, now they need to practice. So the practice comes through the competitions. The other practice comes through work integrated learning, where students now are exposed to experiential learning, not only theory. I hope that Dr. Moletsane will add.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brasem and Sis Onica, to elaborate on this collaboration. For me, the collaboration with the faculties, not only management sciences faculty, but with other faculties, is that we need actually to shift the purpose of WILU. I don't say we need to reposition work integrated learning. We've got different modalities of work integrated learning. We can add entrepreneurship as one of the modality of work integrated learning. So this modality will assist all the faculties, not for the student to wait for the placement, or we need really to shift our mindset to job readiness, and then to from job readiness to economic capability. That's what we need to do. Traditionally, work integrated learning was designed around employability. Students entered workplace to learn how organizations function and to become employable. But the reality is that in the institution, we need to redefine the outcomes of the student when they do work integrated learning. We need to focus more on the student and to say they must identify unmet market needs. That is very important because we often produce what the industry is not really need. So for us to have these companies, the students should also solve real community problems. They should design products or services, and they should also understand how income can be generated independently. So I think all those, when we combine them, they can really assist the student to or work integrated learning can actually add that modality. I know that it's a process, the way we register our qualification, but I'm happy because Onica is driving this initiative, and she has been driving it to an extent that it becomes an obligation to us to drive the initiative of entrepreneurial student. And then for that, it means that students should leave asking themselves too many questions to say that what opportunities did I discover here in the company when I was doing work integrated learning, and what job could I get here? So they should have that mindset, of being creative, and when they leave they know exactly how they should we should place them in entrepreneurial ecosystem, not only formal workplaces. So the collaboration with the faculties, it's really going to make our students employable, and at the same time to create their own companies. Like the colleagues that we see, they started nowhere, but they are somewhere now. So I think, Brasem, I can just close it like that.
Yes. Sis Annie, you do have situations, unfortunate situations, where students complete the work integrated learning module or training, and then they don't get appointed by the companies in which they did training. And then they sit and say, I finished WHEEL, but I wasn't employed, so I'm not having any way out. Do you see that as I'm asking the obvious here, because when they are doing WHEEL training, they are actually excited about the possibility of being hired to come and do this work permanently. But there's no guarantee that when they finish, they get hired. And when they don't get hired, they get very despondent to a point where they could even end up just sitting at home. And I'm saying this because I'm looking at Dr. Siddo, because he goes all out recruiting students, entrepreneurs like Mabusang and them via social media. I'm sure there is a pool of students that have seen the world of work, but they haven't been hired to work, but they understand how the enterprise work and function.
Correct.
I see the opportunity there, if you can just keep it at the back of your mind in conversation with Dr. Siddo, to say, rather than going to the public and advertising and say we are looking for entrepreneurs, why can't these students be assisted by this Onica to put together ideas and business, and then move from pushing for employment to start their businesses? I want you to hold that thought. I don't want to address it now, but just apply your mind there. I want to come back to Mabusang and Motaung. You have tasted the corporate world. Has that experience, Mabusang, at the bank, and you and the corporate, has it been helpful for you when you started to become self-employed or not? I don't want us to discount any of these passages, because any knowledge, any experience is valuable. Please address that issue, because we might be actually undermining the exposure you had in corporate that helps you now when you're running your own business. Mabusa?
Thank you for that question. Actually, where Onica was talking, it was going through my mind, because we have a big gap. What you learn in school, what you learn in business, what you learn in corporate, they are far apart, but you can bring them together. What I learned in the bank, it is a financial discipline that me as a business I have, that I take through everything. I have a cunning eye of picking up on things that do not make sense. I will not put myself in a position whereby you guys are going to say one of my Ganga commission. I won't put myself in that kind of position, because the ethos and the foundation that you get as a training when you go into the bank, is in your blood. You're dealing with people's money. You cannot make a mistake, number one, nor can you take the money. Those who do it, it speaks to your core of who you are. But also at the same time, from the bank, I actually went to school. I went to Sun City, not the prison, Sun City Resort in Rustenburg. And I literally became an employee. I learned food and beverage. I worked with chefs. I understand when they say chefs can curse like parrots. They're right, they can curse, you know. I understood what makes them curse. I understood pricing, which is very important when you run your business. Because remember, when you're doing an event, you get a brief from a client. The client gives you, like, you're lucky if you can get a one page. You're very lucky. You get a summary on the email with 3 lines. And that 3 lines must turn up to an event that you can see on TV. And that's my job. And I have to get the pricing right for the client, so it must make sense to their ROI, so they are not spending too much money. But remember, the hotel needs to make money on their food. So you need to understand how that pricing works. You cannot just create a menu and say, I'm going to bring in some stew, but can you do a crocodile meat? The pricing is different there compared to you having an oxtail. So that was very important for me. But also at the same time, I think the problem that we have with our youth today, they're looking for the glamorous things. Events is not glamorous. See me on the day of the event, you won't even like me. We wear 2 types of shoes. I have a shoe for running around. I have a shoe when I meet my clients. You are a chef, you are an engineer, you are a hostess, you are everything, because you have to wear those hats. But if I was not in corporate, I'll never have worn that hat. Right now, I understand the food and beverage, how it works, because I went to school. I went to Sun City and I learned. And that skill for me is what I carry till today. So it's important. It's very important.
Beautiful.
And I cannot stop this enough. They need to go to corporate. They need to understand what standard of operations is. They need to know what policies is. All those things, they build you up. And when you come to open a business, you have a better understanding.
So that will expose. Sorry, Mabusang.
You find yourself.
So, if that answers my question that I asked Amy to say, students who have done well are actually at a better position to start business than students who have never done it, because that exposure that Mabusang is saying, the will exposes them to that. So I can see that there's actually a foundational work that the will program can still provide for those students who ultimately then become self-employed, right?
Yeah. And then also, it's important that they understand that you need to volunteer also. Volunteering, yes, they might look at it as it's not glamorous, but you know how much you learn when you volunteer? Do you know how many young girls started with us? Today they're running their own companies. It's important. You don't have to volunteer forever, but take that year to understand how every event works. Production for a stage with Chris Bow is very different to a conference when you bring in delegates, heads of state, and you've got 5 international protocols to deal with, to you dealing with the French embassy and dealing with the South African government, and you have drivers. All those, they need you to understand something, and you need to be able to experience all of them. And you can only experience when you're on the job.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And Motaung, any additional input from your side, the experience from corporate, and how is it serving you now that you are on your own?
The corporate experience is very important. So I have a simple way of distinguishing between corporate world and, for example, consulting, because this is what I do. So if we start with corporate world, I think corporate world is where you learn what is needed. Now, consulting, that is where you learn how to be needed by corporate. So that exposure, you cannot do without. So the work that Will is doing, Dr. Moletsane is doing, it helps people to get into the corporate to see what is needed. And what is important is what my colleagues are saying, that then when you step out, you must know what this humongous organization needs, and therefore be able to package yourself to be needed by them.
Beautiful. Wow, this is great. I want to go back to the lecturer. Onica, you meet these students for the first time. They have never heard the word entrepreneurship. Perhaps they've heard about the word business or self-employment. Please position entrepreneurship for us, because sometimes we're using this word. It's a very big word, and I think we lose ourselves in addressing it. Can you put it in a simple terms for a student that comes into our class for the first time, and you are standing in front there and say, I'm going to teach you entrepreneurship? Unpack it for us, please.
Thank you so much. The word entrepreneurship comes from the word that derives from French, which means move. It's a movement. So the distinction between entrepreneurship and business management is that most of the people who are owning businesses, they are happy with the status quo. They are happy with the ways and the strategies that they use to run their business. Unlike the entrepreneurs who are flexible, who are creative and innovative. So entrepreneurs, they don't maintain status quo. If you take an example of a cell phone, the first big cell phone that we got, we would have been happy to say we used to write telegrams, we used to go to post office. But entrepreneurs added some information in a cell phone. Now there's a lot of things, when they said you will see someone when you are calling, I didn't believe that. That is an example of continuous, innovative, and creative, coming up with better ways, not to be happy with the status quo. When I grew up, I'm from the rural area, but then my husband was transferred to location. I saw lots of businesses, small businesses in location. And all those businesses right now, they are nowhere to be found. Why? Because they were not creative, they were not innovative. They would have come together to say, we are selling a building material. Let us build a big building material outlet. Let's go and buy in bulk. Let's contribute money and buy in bulk. But they were happy with the status quo. And then the retail stores come in. Now there's ShopRite, there's Spar, there's this. And people from the location are happy because they employ them. But the people who were operating businesses, they couldn't be successful because they were not entrepreneurs. They were happy with the status quo. I don't know whether I put it correct, but that's how I understand entrepreneurship as opposed to business management and small business.
So what are the right attributes? What are the good attributes of somebody that is geared to become an entrepreneur? When you see the students walking in there and you observe how they carry themselves, is it something that you can pick up, or is it something that you instill in them as you lecture, or is that something that comes through those competitions that you're giving them? I'm just trying to give them an idea to have a bigger picture that you are not going to run a business and sit back. You seem to be saying you're going to run and run and run and run.
Absolutely. I would say I won't specify an attribute. The textbook is telling you about the personalities of becoming an entrepreneur. Authors wrote about entrepreneurs, whether they are made, whether they are born. It's up to an individual. There are people who didn't even go to school who were able to identify a problem and solve the problem. So seeing that students are graduating and they don't get employment, that is why now universities, they make sure that across all the faculties, we teach students, we stimulate entrepreneurial mindset. And again, even if you can stimulate that, the part of being creative and innovative must come from the student. They can get the theory that they need. There are those who can make use of the theory and become entrepreneurs. But I've noticed a change, though, that even the students themselves, they came to their senses to realize that there's no longer many jobs that they can be employed in. And so they come forth to me, yeah. because the Faculty of Engineering, they don't have entrepreneurship as a subject because their curriculum is full. Sometimes you find that the students are asking questions in my class, and I ask them, where are they from? You find that they're from engineering. They're not the students now are hungry to get information, to become entrepreneurs. And some of them, they're already entrepreneurs. I learn a lot from my students, and some of them we start to do the applications together because some of them they're doing IT. Now they've got this thing of building applications, but they don't know how to market it. Then I just link them with the marketing students. If they don't know numbers, I link them with the accounting students. So all the things that we need is within the university. Is us as lecturers to connect the students with the right department, even with the right lecturers, because there are lecturers who are passionate of cleaning water or producing cleaning detergent, but they don't want to sell. They just want to see the product, and that's where the retail business management and marketing students come in. That faculty disciplinary comes in. But when I used to say to my student, if we are saying there's few white entrepreneurs, there's few black entrepreneurs, why does many Indians entrepreneurs, are they born entrepreneurs? It's because the environment is conducive to entrepreneurs. When you go to Indian shops, their teenagers, they are there. Their children are there. You go to the black-owned businesses, it's only them. When they die, business die. Because their children will start to operate a business without knowing how the business is being operated, because the environment is not conducive to entrepreneur. When we were studying, our parents told us that go and study to get certificate, to get employed. But now that I know, and now that the students know that this is a problem, go and get the skill. I heard that most of the universities abroad, they are closing because now the students, they are clever enough to go to the site and learn whatever that they want to learn and start a business. We can ask ourselves, are the universities still relevant in this age? Yeah, I will just stop there. Thank you so much, Professor.
Beautiful. Dr. Siddo, this speaks to your work. That speaks to SME Tradelinks. That speaks to mentoring that you are putting through. And I think that is where we can plug in and fill up the gaps. I don't know whether, as you're listening to this conversation, you're plugging it in your model of supporting entrepreneurs, because I don't believe that the intervention that you are running with Read exhibitions are meant to give people foundational education, but they are meant to give them support as they embark on the journey. Am I right?
Absolutely correct, Brasam. And in fact, one of the motto that I personally go by is entrepreneurship is just the ability to convert your knowledge into an opportunity to make money. That's at the very basic level. If you want to go into entrepreneurship, ask yourself about all these things that I heard Motaung talk about, Moabusang talk about, and Sis Onica also talk about. And as people were talking, I was taking notes, and the ones that I wanted to jot down were essentially understanding the business environment. Very important. That's what Mabusang did by traveling all the way to Monaco to understand the typical client of Formula One. What kind of animal is that typical client, and how can I service that person? They come from a particular environment. They're used to being treated a particular way, and they're used to enjoying a particular experience. By understanding that, Mabusang was able to essentially package that experience and sell it to an audience in South Africa that is looking for that kind of experience and that is willing to pay for that kind of experience. That's the opportunity. I also heard about people talking about access and network. Yes, indeed. Very, very important in business. You must be able to have access to the right people. you must be able to have access to the right networks, because that's where business is discussed. That's where opportunities are brought to the fore, and you should be able to access those opportunities and evaluate them in terms of your own set of skills and your own situation. I heard about problem solving. Well, that's essentially entrepreneurship. We all go into business to address a particular need, a particular gap in the market, and we need to do our homework. We need to do research, market research in particular, to make sure that this opportunity is real. It's not just people talking about, this crypto is where the opportunity is. Let's all go into crypto. Do you even know what crypto means? You have to apply your knowledge and skill to that particular concept. If you have no clue whatsoever, please stay away. You're just going to torture yourself, and you're not going to succeed. People talk about discipline. Yes, if you're not disciplined, you're not going to make it in entrepreneurship. It is as simple as that. We heard passion. If you're not passionate about what you are about to embark on, colleagues, it is also going to be problematic. Then curiosity and value creation. Yes, I'm looking for the service that you are offering, but do I really perceive it as value? What you're selling me, is it meeting my needs? Do I find it value for money? If I do not value what you're offering, yes, you might have one or two clients, but at the end of the day, you are really not going to grow or expand. So the concept of value and value creation is very critical in terms of entrepreneurship. And then lastly, Prasam, I don't want to hog the screen. You mentioned earlier partnership creations, because partnership for me is part and parcel of the network. And Annie was talking about students who are sent to these cooperative learnings. They spend some time in a particular corporate environment, but at the end of the day, they end up not being hired, but at least they've been exposed. They've been exposed to the work environment. They've been exposed to entrepreneurship ideas. And if you have, say, a database of such individuals, like Prasam said, instead of SME Tradelinks advertising every time that we need to attend to a client's need, we could create that link where I could just have access to your database to see the profile of the individuals that you have there, and see if you can create an opportunity and pull them into some of the programs that we run. So I strongly believe in networking, in partnership, in working together. And I think, if anything, for me this evening, there's one takeaway that I would like us to put on the table. Thank you very much, Sam. I don't know if I've responded to the question the way you put it, but that's how I felt about it on the moment.
You know, I like it when you answered quite a number of other questions that I would have had, because the idea of us getting together is for the students to know all the possibilities out there, and also to understand that we didn't just happen. We are a network already. I mean, that's why we are here tonight. And that's an example of what happens when you have a bigger network. So I'm looking at time. We're moving towards the end, and I want Bali and Sophie to prepare themselves for their remarks based on what they've had. But every one of us also to prepare your closing statements and remarks, and how the viewers can get hold of you, especially you, Onica, and Sisini. In the meantime, Sisini, we have a question in the chat from one of your students. So far, okay, we had a comment from your former colleague, Dr. Sefako Isaiah Mareshi. Is very inspired by this discussion. If He feels this is very empowering, which is great, great feedback. And then a student by the name of Atleha Mufokeng, he says that I'm in final year industrial engineering student at VUT, and I would like to know more about WIL, how to get it, and what opportunities or challenges can I expect? Quite a mouthful question. Maybe you also need to direct her to come to your office, but your comment, please.
My comment, Brasem, is that, yes, is that thank you very much for Dr. Maresha to realize that what is happening this evening is really powerful. And my comment will be that before I close up or making a last statement where I will be directing the student, I just want to make the student aware of one thing that they need to understand. They are in a uniquely powerful position because they are exposed to the real operations problems, customer needs, and service gaps while still learning. So, meaning that work integrated learning is key for the students to actually go through because they learn. The student often notice practical problems because they view the workplace with clear and fresh eyes. Hence, they are actually they will be able to say, okay, we realize we can be entrepreneurial if we look at the points of inefficiency or slow customer response processes from the company. They take that opportunity to make sure that they are doing something for them or they can open the business. So the student, if it's the last year, for the student, they can visit our cooperative education website and they will get the information there, what to do. And then we no longer take in the hard copies of the CV. We've got WIL management system whereby the student will go through, but they can just drop an email to WIL at cooperativeeducation.ac.za, then they will get help there. The only thing that the other thing that I like for students are interacting with a client or customers. They see the customers repeatedly asking questions, and then those questions that the customer is asking, and they are actually taking an advantage of that, and then they build their own companies. So they must carry on. Entrepreneurship is one of work integrated learning modality. So for the students to go through work integrated learning, it will really benefit them to think smart or to have another mindset when they see this question that industry normally, customer normally ask the industry. Thank you.
Can the student walk in at your block there? Do you mind mentioning the block and the floor where you are so they can walk in and get assistance? I know you have students always willing.
Yes, they are actually willing to, and I always encourage them to walk in the office so that they can be familiar with activities in cooperative education, because it's not only placement, seeking funding for students as well. It assists them. They need to know when they need to work integrated learning, we can find the opportunity as well as maybe giving them the stipend while doing work integrated learning. Those opportunities were not there when Bontate Fusi were there. And then currently the student gets stipend, and if they're not employed or maybe after work integrated learning, they are sitting at home, the graduate programs that companies are actually giving to the student, they assist them to be employable anyway or to think to open their own companies. They can get us in A block. We are in N block. N block, first floor. It's only that office in the first floor, cooperative education in the first floor. And then I think it's written outside cooperative education. They can come in, ask whatever the question they want, and then apply for work integrated learning as well as graduate programs. Thank you, Blossom.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And we have Letitia Tivet. I know Letitia very well. She works with Enactus. Onica, I don't know whether you know Letitia. She's commented here and she says, entrepreneurship can be taught. Enactus is offering students at all universities opportunities to participate in our program to become business owners before they graduate. Wow, that's beautiful. There you
Yes,
are.
I do know Letitia.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I do know Letitia.
Wonderful. Thank you, Letitia, for that information. Yes, Onica, carry on.
Yes, I was saying I do know Letitia. Letitia is the CEO of Enactus South Africa. As I have alluded earlier on, that Enactus is an international organization. So Letitia is the one that is bringing these opportunities to students where they can participate in the challenge of MTN, Harmony. Last time they came up with a brilliant challenge of Schneider, where students were expected to come up with an alternative energy in the form of the battery. So yes, I know Letitia, and what I like with Letitia is that they don't just give the students these opportunities, but they train them. There's also leadership of students, which are executives, who are trained every September on how to recruit other students and on how to train them to become entrepreneurs. Thank you so much, Letitia. I salute you and thank you for the opportunity that you have given me to develop students to become entrepreneurs in order to minimize the high graduate unemployment. Thank you.
Beautiful. That's good news. Yeah. No, this is great. We will grow this network and we will turn these students into becoming providers of answers and solutions to our very real problems. Colleagues, let's give the two. I call them our observer guests, but they are colleagues of us. They are network. We are the same network. Mbali and Sophie. We did have them, Dr. Siddo, when we started with this program to come and speak to our current cohort. So everybody speak a lot about what they have brought to the current cohort that they've just finished last week. Mbali and Sophie, I don't know.
I recall you made sure I wasn't there before you invited them.
I know. You missed a great interaction with the current cohort, but they are here. They are part of network. You'll have your moment and your opportunity. Mbali and Sophie, thank you so much for your time and your interest. I hope we have inspired you, and you have some few ways to wrap up on behalf of our viewers before I allow our panelists to also close the show. Over to you, Mbali and Sophie.
Thank you very much, Prasem. I'll allow Sophie to go first. Sophie?
I think, first of all, hi, and I'm sorry I'm late. A lot of load shedding scheduled on our side. In honesty, I think you guys spoke a lot to the raw issue, or should I say the root issue. Okay, so as young people, we tend to go into fields that we think would be best for our family to survive. So we'll go into the financially stable pathway, not realizing that it can lead us to depression, anxiety, and so on. And also it gives us that large, it doesn't even become a small gap. Now it becomes a huge mountain to cross, because now you're at that point where you're 40 or 50 and you're looking back and saying that I've stayed in a company for 10 years and I'm still a junior, not improving or not moving, not realizing that we haven't had the skills of actually becoming an entrepreneur, or better yet, we didn't have platforms or people to hold our hands, to direct and help us. One thing I've learned from Sisimbali in itself is coaching and knowing how to communicate in a broader mannerism. So I know I've seen this trend on TikTok. She knows me, I'm a very social media person. I'm a very numbers person. I will know about the newest cat brand, and then I have to educate her. But that's the beauty of it. It's that relationship of being able to take something from the older person, but the older person not suppressing your talent, but rather nurturing your talent, guiding your talent, and also helping you. So I loved the fact that uh, Mdawu, you said something, you went from mining to consulting, which was very profound, because I know the mining industry, and you went from a very, very difficult and darker industry to something where you're offering light. So we get that. So we come as young people and we see ourselves like we've got bare, or we reached bare marks. This is going to get me to Deloitte. Deloitte's going to help me get my family out of Mogasi or wherever, and I'm going to bring them into a higher platinum. But we don't have the tools to make us entrepreneurs. We don't have the opportunities. We don't have the platforms. And another thing was the exposure of the Formula One and also Onica, and as well as Sis Annie. You guys pinpointed and touched on relatable things that we're facing. Like, if you go on to TikTok, I don't know if Sam will create a group, but I'll get you some of the comments and statistics and people that young people actually message me, who I usually refer to Sisimbali, and it's like a train thing. But in itself, like you said, Dr. Sam, it's we need to grow a network. You know, it can't always be Dr. Sam here. It can't always be N there. N is there in the varsity, and Onika is also in the places where she is. But once you spread a mentor too thin, then what happens to the mentee in itself? So I feel that we've learned a lot in itself. I was even telling Sisimbali, I'm like, I'm hearing, but everything I'm hearing is such a bar from everybody that I'm trying to keep my laptop on. But at the same time, I'm just like, I mustn't forget a study thing, but I'm learning so much and I'm gaining so much. And something you said something that everybody leeches on in branding, it's value. You know, sometimes like when we also present ourselves to the authors or to branders, we have to communicate about authenticity. How you are outside must represent who you are in the book or in the product. Yes, you can sell a product, but you are the service. So we have to also communicate that with people. They must realize that you're an engineer, but you are in itself the service. So now that you're a service, we can also use your talents as a tool and we can exhaust that. So I would end off like this. The importance of coaching and mentorship and leadership in this day and age is needed more than ever. We cannot rely on Claudel, ChatGPT to lead us into victory when we've got our very own people that lived through unfortunate circumstances, overcame them. You guys are living, breathing tools. So what's my objective? And this Gen Z or millennial thing of I won't or I shall, no, start from the bottom, grow. The journey is what makes you, not the destination. So that's what I learned tonight in itself. And I can't wait for the next meeting. Oh, wow.
Thank you so much, Sis Sophie. Well over to you, Sisimbali. Thank you. Well said.
Wow. Thank you so much, Brasem, for such an amazing opportunity to sit here and just feel and eat and feed from such wisdom in the room. I don't want to mess up what Sophie said, but this is what I'm going to say, that for the longest time, entrepreneurship has been seen as the last resort when all else failed. However, today we are realizing that the education system, the economic system, the human development system, and all other systems at large are recognizing entrepreneurship as a key to transformation of social, and economic development. However, it must be noted for people to understand that entrepreneurship must be anchored in being knowledgeable, skilled, willingness to learn, discipline, and passion. While the above relates to you as a human being, being skilled and knowledge can be obtained through networking. It can be obtained through being a volunteer and being an apprentice. But one must remember that you are born with creativity, you are born with innovation. And it is creativity and innovation that is going to transform the lives. As it has been mentioned, that you don't go into entrepreneurship just because you want to make money. Go into entrepreneurship with the idea and the mindset of what is it that I'm trying to transform? What is this problem I'm trying to solve for? It has been said that when the student is ready, the master will emerge. Thank you.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much. Mbali is also a Toastmasters expert. So if there is a need for assistance, and that Motaung, Siseni, and Onica with students preparation for interviews, we know we have Mbali. Sis Onica, I'm coming to you at the same time. I ask you to respond to Katle or Samuel Mufuking's question, how do I access Enactus? If you can answer that and also give us your closing remarks.
You can access Enactus through me or through Enactus universities, because we've got Enactus VUT, we've got Enactus UKZN, we've got Enactus Northwest University. It depends where Katlewo is, in which institution. So there will be a link in every institution where Katlewo can join Enactus. And once he joins Enactus, then he will meet with other students who meet often. And they are also meeting with the coordinators from the head office. So Enactus is not only leaving the work to the lecturers, but there's coordinators from head office who comes and assist students. Who've got weekly meetings to help students really to become entrepreneurs. So in closing, I would say at VUT, we've got TTO, the Technology Transfer Office, because most of the students, they don't want to come up with business ideas because they think people are going to steal their ideas. People think alike. If you've got what it takes and you think you've got an innovative idea that needs to be protected, you can go to Science Park for your idea to be protected. But I don't guarantee that they will protect your idea, because they sit down with you and guide you. Sometimes they can be able to tell you that this idea is not a protectable idea. What if you want to protect your idea? Go there to the customers, conduct a design thinking process, know what is their pain. People are willing to pay for the people who are taking their pain. I'm so proud to see Mr. Motaung from Vaal University of Technology, who is taking the pain and anxiety of students to write CVs and to prepare for interviews. So they will be willing to pay him for him to help them to be able to go with confidence and express themselves when they go for interview. Thank you so much, Dr. Sam.
Well done.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Sis Onica. Let me come to you. Now that Sis Onica has reminded us, in fact, I recall at some stage you had written a book around this topic. Am I right? If you can just touch on that as you check out as well.
Yes, and Taditsima and Aus Onica, thank you for saying that. And indeed, they do pay, Aus Onica. They pay. Almost every week, I have somebody asking for help, either with their CV, they are preparing for an interview. I charge 500 Rand. They are very happy to pay. And Taditsima, yes, in 2020, I published a book called Who Got the Job Ahead of You? The Ways and the Habits of People Who Get Jobs. If my memory serves me well, I think Dr. Moletsane bought the book.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
I remember I
Yes.
ran after her and I made sure I deliver the book to her home. So yes, I did. And the closing remarks from me, Ntatetsima and the rest of you, my esteemed colleagues, is that what you have shared with me tonight has affirmed the coaching model that I use. That whether you are a job seeker, whether you are a professional, whether you are a manager, executive, I often show them that you are a business. So I teach them to understand that they themselves are a business. And to simplify it, I say, picture yourself as a billboard. There are 4 sides to the billboard if we're facing the billboard directly. And these 4 sides represent the following things. 1, your merchandise. So what is this thing that you are giving to the world? Your skills, your knowledge, what you care about. 2, what self-marketing story can you tell? Sometimes people have what they're selling, but they don't know how to craft their story. But to who? Side number 3 is the people in your network. I'm not talking about mass media. I'm talking about people who can buy into what you are doing, either by spreading the word or buying it and paying for it. Those are the people in your network. And lastly, then your social relationship admin. LinkedIn is not an accident. It is a platform where people showcase what they do, their progress on a daily basis. My question is, what LinkedIn are you having in your own arsenal? And to conclude, therefore, I want to say Atleha Consulting focuses on that. It's really about how do you understand how organizations work? And now that you are in, how do you have an effective experience? Now that you're a manager or a leader, what compliance requirements are there for you to make these talent to really optimally, engage and deliver? So Atleha Consulting offers those particular services. I'm available on LinkedIn. I'm available on Facebook. I'm available on X. I'm available on Instagram as well. I thought I should market myself then, Tatetima. And thank you for the platform. I learned a lot from everybody, and I'm looking forward to those networks continuing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you. Thank you so much, Motaung. We're proud of you. I mean, you're the ambassador of the Value University of Technology out there. So thanks for agreeing to come back and plow back by sharing the experiences. Mawusang?
Yes, sir. Phew, why do you put me last? This was really amazing. I think for me, my takeaways. I would love to propose this. We need to teach entrepreneurship even a little bit lower. Let's take it to high schools. Varsity is a little bit too late. Let's take it foundation level. I'll tell you why I say that. I'm where I am today because of my dad. My daughter, she made me spend a lot of money. She's a, what did she study? 3D animation. And she basically is a freelancer. She never worked for anybody. When she worked for somebody, she worked around COVID and she was like, look, I'm not doing this again. But she never ever advertised herself. She gets demanded because she learned it from me. So I would like to propose that we take it foundation level. Let's be like Japan. Take it there, then we groom our kids already from foundation level. By the time they get to varsity, they don't need us. So that is my proposition. Dr. Sam is on to you, Lee, Dr. Siddo. I'll leave it to you. But also, again, I think thank you for bringing value proposition. That is so underestimated, the value proposition. And I see people opening businesses. Yes, we have a lot of events companies, a lot. If you go to Graham, a lot of companies offering packages for Formula One. What is their value of prop? Are they going to actually fly you there, drive you there with a Ferrari, actually get you to the site, and then you get to meet Lewis Hamilton? They won't. Our value proposition is what actually makes us stand from everybody else. And that is what you need to focus with your business. It's important that your value of it needs to be very solid and you need to be confident about it. And I love the other lady who was saying that she mentioned something about a brand. And I think Uncle and Dr. Sam and Siddo understand why I'm going to have a double barrel surname when I get married. because I'm a brand. I cannot get married and lose my surname and I'm now a Jacobo. Nobody's going to remember Mabusama Jacobo, but they'll know Mabusama Notani. So the man I marry, he must understand that I'm a brand. And I walk and I treat myself like a brand. So it's very important that even when you walk in this space of social media, remember that it starts with you. So for me, those are my takeaways. It's a lot. It's quite a lot that I would love to share. But also, if we could look at Dr. Annie and Onica, let's see if we can have sessions with the first years also. They come in, they start trying to figure themselves out. Bring us into the university. Let's have one-on-ones with them or put them in the class. And let's have a talk, because I do the last year students, the third year students, and they are already on their way out. And by the time they're on the way out, I come and talk to them like, damn it, why didn't you talk to me around the first year? You know? So let's actually try and change the system so it can work for our kids. But thank you so much for this opportunity. It was really amazing. I learned a lot. And I like the clap, 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 clap. It was really lovely. It was an honor meeting everybody else.
Thank you so much. And we accept it.
Thank you for trusting us. They must know, they must pay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We take the challenge, Mabusang. Thank you very much for the insightful input. Dr. Moletsane, and please, can you please help Katlego? She's come back and say, ma'am, Onica, I'm at VUT. How do I access you for more information? Please help Katlego. Is Katlego Samuel Mufugeng? So as you check out, please just emphasize that she can walk into your office, she can walk into, I know Sis Onica, it depends on when you have lectures, but please direct her because she's keen to become part of this wheel and this part of Enactus.
Okay, thank you very much, Brasem. Katlego can meet us in the office. We've got social media platforms that he can communicate with the rest of the team in cooperative education, but let him walk to the office. The office is in N block and first floor, I think it's N100, but it's written outside. It's the only office that we have there. And then I just want to thank you everybody very much for this networking thing. I think this will leverage the entrepreneur outcome for graduate by transforming graduate development from a closed institutional processes into a public network ecosystem. Brasem, thank you very much. Thank you very much for making us to add another dimension by offering graduate media visibility and exposure, mentorship, and insight into emerging market demands. Thank you very much for that. COMETSA really is very, very valuable to the institution. And yes, Mabusang, we do have the first year activities for first year students. We will invite you anyway. Yes, so that we can, but we will meet with Onica and yourself first before we can send it to people who will actually do the groundwork. We do cater for that. And then I also want to thank Dr. Siddo for his passion of taking our students. But I think he put it clear that he wants students who are already, made an effort of the company. And thank you very much, Motaung. Thank you very much indeed. You are so important to us and you are doing a lot to our students. Thank you very much. And Onica, thank you very much to come and drive this initiative of entrepreneurship. I know that you have mentioned the platforms whereby we can keep the student, giving them maybe courses of entrepreneurship. We also have the World Association for Cooperative Education. I think some of the Enactus students, we did put them, Enactus student, we did put them in the program of entrepreneurship, and then they worked so well. People abroad were amazing. VUT was there. It was VUT, there's VUT. When you hear them commenting and sharing or reflecting on what they have learned and what they are doing, it was very, very good. So, Sis Mbali, thank you very much indeed. We're all going to use you colleagues for whatever. That is why I'm saying the relationship that we are trying to forge now, let it be the relationship that will take our students far when we are no longer in the institution. They should remember that we did 1, 2, 3. If you are no longer in your company and your daughter is taking over, so they should say, wow, we know Mama Mabusang, and then her daughter is doing 1, 2, 3 or whatever. So we are grateful, colleagues. I can actually, for me, what I take is the partnership or the collaboration that we want to do, particularly with our faculties as well. We have a lot of work in terms of entrepreneurship, so we need to collaborate. Thank you very much, Sis Onica, for that collaboration. Thank you, Brasem. Thank you, everyone. We will meet again in another platform. Thank you. And thank you for the listeners, the cooperative education staff members, and the student academic development part of it. Thank you very much for the student as well who tuned in to want to know what is happening. Thank you very much for the colleagues as well. I know that our colleagues are here. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Lekamoso. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Cecilie. Just before we go, the recommendation from Letitia Divet is that Katlego can go on Google and then Google Enactus. He will reach the website, and more information is there. And then Tulani, welcome. Thanks for today's podcast. Keep on the good work. That the Motaung, I'm a product of your work. That is Tulani. And of course, Katlego also comment, that's his closing remarks. Thank you for this opportunity. It's my first time here, and I'm looking forward to more meetings, and I'm happy and grateful to learn from you. That is Katlego. So I think Katlego seems to be now sort of like in the right direction. So great discussion, guys. Well done. Thank you, colleagues. That was our 22nd edition of the Valley University of Technology Student Academic Development Support and Work Integrated Learning. And I'm going to add plus entrepreneurship because this Onica is not going anywhere. Thank you for your contribution, colleagues Mbali and Sophie. Dr. Siddo is left. I want to thank him for his time and the energy that he brought to the session. This show takes place on the last Wednesday of every month, same time, except in December and January. And we are forging ahead, as we indicated. We are shifting from just talking about will. We'll talk about will and entrepreneurship as tweets. And then, of course, the two champions is Dr. Moletsane and Sis Onica at the Valley University of Technology. My name is Sam Zima, and this is COMETSA Television Network, our video streaming platform. We see you last Wednesday of April when we bring another episode, edition number 23, and we will have more entrepreneurs with us. Goodbye, and please stay in the studio as I disconnect from the viewers.